Hey there, fellow thinkers. Welcome back to the Black Flag. Today, we're diving headfirst into the contentious realm of politics and exploring the problem with both the political left and the political right. Strap in and send this to your annoying friends of the political right and the political left. This is going to be a thought-provoking ride. The polarization problem. One major issue plaguing the left and the right in today's societal discourse is the escalating polarization. Both sides are guilty of contributing to this divide, and they've become trapped in a vicious cycle. We've forgotten how to listen and engage in meaningful conversations. Instead, we view the other side as a mere projection of our negative expectations, treating them as representatives of everything we dislike about their political stance, instead of seeing them as what they are, individuals with their own opinions. Echo chambers and confirmation bias. One critical factor exacerbating this issue is the alarming prevalence of echo chambers and the pervasive influence of confirmation bias. In today's digital age, we wield the power to meticulously tailor our social media feeds, creating an echo chamber where we are surrounded by like-minded individuals who echo and validate our existing beliefs. This echo chamber shields us from exposure to diverse perspectives, trapping us in a bubble that reinforces our own convictions. Consequently, our ability to empathize with those who hold contrasting views becomes hindered, as we unintentionally perpetuate a cognitive bias known as confirmation bias. Confirmation bias, a cognitive distortion, is our inherent tendency to seek, interpret, and favor information that aligns with our pre-existing beliefs while dismissing or downplaying evidence that challenges or contradicts them. In the realm of politics, confirmation bias can lead us to selectively perceive and remember information that supports our political leanings, creating a self-reinforcing cycle that hinders our capacity to critically evaluate alternative viewpoints. This phenomenon perpetuates the polarization between the political left and right, inhibiting constructive dialogue and impeding our progress towards a more inclusive and empathetic society. Oversimplification of complex issues. Both the left and the right are guilty of oversimplifying complex issues. They often resort to catchy slogans and sound bites that cater to their base, sacrificing nuance and depth of understanding. This perpetuates a black and white view of the world, preventing us from grappling with the intricacies of the problems we face. Moving beyond tribalism. To overcome this impasse, we must transcend the tribalistic mentality that pits us against one another. We need to shift our focus from winning arguments to fostering genuine dialogue and seeking common ground. It's essential to recognize that people's political beliefs are multidimensional, and reducing them to a single stereotype is a disservice to the complexity of human thought. Embracing empathy and listening. The key to bridging this divide lies in empathy and active listening. We must strive to understand the underlying values, fears, and hopes that shape people's political perspectives. By engaging in respectful conversations and truly hearing each other out, we can build bridges and find solutions that transcend party lines. The euphemistic treadmill, the illusion of solving problems by changing words. Language is a powerful tool, shaping our thoughts, perceptions, and societal norms. Words carry meaning and can evoke strong emotions. It's natural to believe that by altering or replacing certain words, we can transform the associated ideologies. However, this is where the euphemistic treadmill comes into play. The euphemistic treadmill suggests that when we attempt to ban or replace specific words or phrases, we often end up just circling around the issue. Let's say we outlaw a particular term, hoping to eradicate the negative connotations it carries. But what happens next? A new euphemism emerges, which eventually becomes burdened with similar associations as the original term. We find ourselves trapped in a never-ending cycle of linguistic shifts that fail to address the underlying problem. Taboos and thought control. Taboo subjects are often seen as a way to combat problematic ideologies. However, taboos can inadvertently stifle open dialogue and critical examination of these issues. By prohibiting discussions, we limit our ability to understand and challenge harmful beliefs effectively. The euphemistic treadmill teaches us that genuine progress requires more than just substituting words. It demands thoughtful analysis and engagement. The importance of education and empathy. If we genuinely want to tackle problematic ideologies, we must focus on education and empathy. By fostering understanding and compassion, we can create an environment where people are encouraged to critically evaluate their own beliefs and engage in meaningful conversations. Changing words alone won't lead to lasting change, but shifting perspectives through knowledge and empathy can. The dilemma of word usage. Given the intricacies of the euphemistic treadmill, it becomes challenging to take a firm stance on whether we should entirely eliminate or continue using certain words. On one hand, some argue that removing specific terms from our vocabulary can help combat offensive or harmful language. On the other hand, once a word has acquired strong negative connotations, using it can perpetuate those negative associations. This dilemma highlights the complexity of the issue. If we advocate for eradicating words, we risk inadvertently suppressing free expression and limiting the nuances of communication. Conversely, if we persist in using words burdened with negative connotations, we risk perpetuating harmful ideologies or unintentionally causing offense. The power of context and intention. When discussing the usage of words, it's essential to consider both context and intention. While certain words might carry negative connotations, their usage can vary based on the intent behind them and the context in which they are employed. It is crucial to foster an environment where dialogue is encouraged, allowing for clarification and understanding of the intended meaning behind words. Instead of falling into the trap of either completely eliminating or unreservedly embracing specific words, we should aim for nuanced and thoughtful discourse. This requires active listening, empathy, and the willingness to engage in respectful conversations. By acknowledging the power of language and the potential impact of our words, we can work towards a more inclusive and understanding society. Distinguishing intent and impact in racial discourse. When discussing sensitive topics like racism, it is crucial to differentiate between intent and impact. Intent refers to the purpose or motivation behind someone's words or actions, while impact refers to the actual consequences or effects those words or actions have on others, particularly marginalized communities. It's important to recognize that even if someone does not have malicious or explicitly racist intentions, their words or behaviors can still perpetuate harmful stereotypes or contribute to systemic inequality. Understanding the distinction between intent and impact allows us to address the broader issue of systemic racism and its pervasive effects. The fallacy of intent as a defense. Too often, people use their lack of racist intent as a shield against any accountability for the harm caused by their words or actions. However, focusing solely on intent overlooks the power dynamics and historical context that shape our society. It disregards the lived experiences of those who face discrimination and reinforces the status quo. By recognizing that impact matters more than intent, we shift the focus from individual intentions to systemic change. It compels us to examine the broader implications of our language and actions, and to actively work towards dismantling oppressive structures rather than getting defensive about personal intent. Embracing responsibility and learning. Understanding the difference between intent and impact requires humility and a willingness to learn. It means accepting that we may unintentionally contribute to racial harm and committing ourselves to educate and unlearn harmful biases. By engaging in self-reflection and listening to marginalized voices, we can cultivate empathy, challenge our own assumptions, and strive to do better. While intent is important for personal growth and understanding, it should not overshadow the real-world consequences of our actions. By centering our focus on the impact of racism, we can foster an environment that actively works towards equality and justice for all. Shifting dynamics, from the right of the strong to the right of the weak. In contemporary discussions, we have observed a shift from the criticized right of the stronger to what some may call the right of the weaker. While it is essential to address historical power imbalances and ensure marginalized voices are heard, it is equally important to foster a space where arguments can be heard and considered, regardless of the perceived vulnerability of the speaker. We find ourselves in a delicate balance where the fear of causing offense can overshadow the pursuit of truth and the exchange of diverse perspectives. It seems that in some instances, the emphasis has shifted from engaging in robust dialogue to tiptoeing around potential sensitivities. While it is crucial to prioritize empathy and understanding, it is equally important to maintain an environment that encourages open and respectful discourse. Acknowledging the concerns and experiences of marginalized individuals is essential for creating a more inclusive and equitable society. However, we must also recognize that avoiding critical discussions or dismissing valid arguments solely based on potential offense can hinder progress and limit intellectual growth. A healthy dialogue requires us to embrace a balance between sensitivity and the willingness to engage with challenging ideas. It is possible to create spaces where individuals feel respected and valued while also encouraging the exploration of different perspectives. By fostering an environment that promotes thoughtful exchange, we can move beyond the limitations of the right of the weaker and truly seek understanding and progress. To address this challenge, we must promote a culture that values both empathy and intellectual rigor. It is crucial to listen to and uplift marginalized voices, ensuring their experiences are heard and validated. Simultaneously, we must also encourage a willingness to critically examine ideas, even if they challenge prevailing narratives or make us uncomfortable. In conclusion, while it is important to acknowledge that social justice warriors can sometimes be perceived as irritating or excessive in their approach, it is equally important to recognize that their opponents can be equally, if not more, bothersome. The key lies in finding a balance and fostering a culture of active listening, where we genuinely hear what the other person is saying, rather than using them as a mere representation of our own preconceived notions. We must also remember that we cannot assume the role of spokespersons for marginalized groups or communities. Instead, we should speak for ourselves and respect the diverse voices within those communities. It is crucial to maintain humility and recognize the limitations of our own perspectives. By cultivating an environment where we engage in genuine dialogue, challenging our own assumptions, and actively listening to others, we can bridge the gaps that divide us. It is through respectful and open-minded conversations that we can foster understanding, empathy, and ultimately work towards a more inclusive and just society. Thank you for joining me on this thought-provoking journey today. Remember to stay open to diverse viewpoints, practice active listening, and always approach discussions with empathy and humility. Together, we can create a space where meaningful conversations thrive and contribute to positive change. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Keep waving the black flag.